Hi, today I'm going to be showing you how to make my crochet mason jar covers. These are going to look awesome when you have a tea light lit, and you'll put the tea light in and then it'll shine through and they really come alive. So I have two versions. The pattern refers to them as version 1 and version 2. So this one over here is version 1 and this one is version 2. They're both going to have the same bottom. Okay, and that's going to be the base that you're going to start out with, and then you can really adjust them. These are 16-ounce mason jars. If you wanted to do a larger mason jar, all you would do is continue the base pattern until it is as wide as whatever jar you're using. Okay, and then when I took the tops off but I left the metal ring, you can take the metal ring off so that it's just a jar. Okay, it's pretty much however you want to do it. I kind of liked it with the little edge of metal. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to start the base of our tea light holders. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a crochet hook size H. We're going to need a stitch marker, and then we're going to use yarn. I use cotton yarn. The sample was made with Lily Sugar and Cream, and now I'm using the Hobby Lobby I Love This Cotton. I would use cotton over acrylic because we don't want a chance of the glass getting hot at all and melting our yarn. So we are going to start with our pattern, and the base says that we're going to do chain 2. If you want to do the magic loop, you can do that. I always like to just do chain 2 and then work into it. So we're just going to chain 2. Let me bring this down closer. And then we're going to do 6 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. So that's going to be the one that's right above our slip knot. So just going to go in and do 6 single crochets. Now what I like to do is the work kind of automatically rotates, and once it rotates I like to crochet over my tail. So you'll see that I laid the tail down right over that loop, so when I go in I'm actually catching the yarn so that the tail is between me and the working yarn, and then I just crochet over it. And I'll show you why we do that once I get up to 6. And if you need to count, you're just going to count your V's on top. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more. Okay, for the base, we're going to work in a continuous spiral. So we're going to put our stitch marker right in the stitch that's to the right of our hook. Okay, and then you'll see that there is a little bit of a hole here. If you pull the tail, that hole will close up. So that is row 1, and now for row 2 we're going to increase in each stitch. So that means we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch. So I did 1, go back in the same stitch for the second one, and then do 2 in each. We're going under both loops for our hook, unless a pattern specifically says that you go in through the front or the back loop. It's implied that you go underneath both loops. So we're going under both loops for these. And we're doing 2 stitches in each one to increase evenly around. I'm up to my marker. I take my marker out, put my hook back in, and now we're going to put our marker back in. Okay? And again, if you pull that tail, it tightens up. Now the next row, what we're going to do is we're going to increase again, and we want to increase evenly. So whatever number we started with, that's how many we're going to increase the whole row. So we started with 6, we increased 6 by doing 2 in each stitches. To do another 6 increase, the first stitch we're going to put 2 into, and then the next stitch is just going to be a single stitch. And then you're going to continue 2 in the next one, 1 in the following, all the way around. You're going to repeat this 6 times. So 2 in the first stitch, and then 1, so you're going to have 2 in the last stitch, and then you have 1 in the last. That's kind of how you know that you've done it the right way around. I'm going to continue increasing until we get to our circle to be the same size as the base of our jar. So this pattern says that we're going to increase for 6 rows. So the next 2 stitches in the first, 1 stitch in the next 2. And you do that all the way around. And then we do 2 stitches in the first stitch and then 1 in the next 3. So you do 2, 1, 1, 1, and then 2, 1, 1, 1. And we're going to go up to increase 4 the 4th time. So the last row will be 2 and then 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so I'm going to come back to you after I have done row 6 of my base. Okay, so I have done my 6 rounds. So we're going to take our jar and we're just going to place the circle over to see if it fits. And you want it to come right to the edges. You don't really want it to go up the sides of the jar at all. Okay, since the pattern does have some lacing to it, it will stretch. And it's okay if you have holes in your crochet, because we want light to come through, so it's okay like that. Okay, so now we're going to start version 1, and we have a multiple of 6 stitches. So we ended with 36 stitches, so we're already at our multiple of 6, so we can just continue. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch to join. Okay, and then row 7 we're going to count chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet. And then we are going to go ahead and we are going to skip 2 stitches. So in the 3rd stitch we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, another double, chain 1, and a last double. So you get this nice little fan, and then we're going to skip 2 and then do another double crochet, and that is our repeat. So we skip 2, work a double, chain 1, double, chain 1, last double, all in the same space. We're going to skip 2 and do a double crochet in the last one. Now you'll notice that it's going to start curving. That's good. That's what we want. Okay, so we're going to go around and I'll show you how we're going to join at the end. Okay, so I've gone all the way around. I ended with my last 3 stitches together, and now I'm going to join with a slip stitch in the very top of the chain 3 that I started with. Okay, and you'll see how it made like a little basket. So there is some debate as to which is the right side and which is the wrong side. I like to go with the side that looks like a spiral as my right side. So I'm just going to pop it so that it makes a little bowl, so that way the side that doesn't have the spiral is on the inside, and you'll see my tails on the inside. So I'm just going to work it this way. So now we just are going to repeat this pattern. So rounds 8 to 12 is just like number 7. So we're going to chain 3. And now we don't really need to count with skipping stitches. We can just go right into that center double crochet and do another of our double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So that's going to be right in the center of the one from the previous row. And then we're going to do a double crochet in the double crochet of the previous row. So you'll see how they just line up right on top of each other. And then after you do this row, it's possible for you to try on the sleeve over your mason jar, which when we get to the end of the round, I'll show you how to do that, just to see if your tension is right for the jar. So I'll see you again at the end of the round. Okay, so I'm at the end of the round again. I just did my 3 stitches, and now I'm going to slip stitch in the top of the turning chain. Okay, the beginning chain. So now is when you can kind of try it on your mason jar, and you're just going to lay your mason jar inside and then see if this stretches around. Okay. Now you don't want it to be super tight, but it can be tight because it'll stretch out the lace work. You don't want it to be so loose that when you pick the jar up, it just falls off. Okay? You want to have to shake it to have it fall off. But even if it is a little loose, we're going to tighten it up once we get to the top. So I'm going to come back to you once I've worked the body, and I'll show you how to do the top cuff. Okay, so I have finished crocheting my 12 rows, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it on my jar just to make sure that it is the right length. So we're going to just top it on. And you want to come up right about where the jar starts to curve in. That's where you want it to go up to. So this is perfect where it is. Okay, so we can take it off. Now if you wanted to turn this into a water bottle holder, you could do the same thing where you go up to your circumference of the water bottle, and then you just keep going until it's long enough. So I have a soda bottle here I can show you. So you would just, this one's a little bit big for the soda bottle, but you can see how it would fit on that as well. Okay. So now we're going to do the top cuff. Okay. So we have joined. We're going to chain 1. And now we're pretty much going to be working in spaces as opposed to stitches. And we want to bring the number of stitches down to 24. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the space that's between our chain 3 and our first double crochet, and we're just going to do a single crochet there. Then we're going to go into the chain 1 spaces between the double crochets and do 1 single in each space, and then we're going to go in the space before the double crochet by itself and after the double crochet by itself, and then 1 in each of the chain 1 spaces. So we're pretty much going into every space that is around our circumference. And you're going to end up with 24 stitches. So again, we go in the space before the double crochet, after the double crochet, and in each one of the chain 1 spaces. And then we are going to join with a slip stitch into our first single crochet. Okay, we're going to do 2 more rows of that. So I'm sorry, 3 more rows of chaining 1, and now we're just going to go stitch for stitch in each one. So it'll be 24 stitches around, and you're going to do that for row 14, 15, and 16. And then I will meet you back at the end. Okay, so I have finished row 16. So now I'm going to put it on my jar again. Now it's going to be a little bit tight because the bottom of the jar is bigger than the top of the jar, but it still should fit on. And then we're just going to bring the top up, and you pretty much want it to come just about to the top of your lid. Okay, and then that is your finished crocheted mason jar. So I'll show you how to finish it off. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut our yarn, and I like to leave a tail because we're going to weave in the ends. So about 6 inches for the tail is good. And the way we fasten off is we're just going to bring the tail through the loop that's here. Then you can do it with a crochet hook, or I like to use a tapestry needle. And we're going to weave in our ends. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. We're going to do it on the inside of the fabric. So I'm just going to come down a little bit from the beginning. And then I'm going to follow a row. So I'm just going to pick little loops that I'm going to go into. And if you'll notice on the front, you don't see the needle coming through. So I'm just going to pull through these. And then I'm going to go backwards a little bit to kind of back stitch it in place. Okay, and then if you wanted to, you can go one more backwards. And then we're going to carefully cut this so that it's close to the fabric. And then if we turn it inside out, we're going to do it the same thing with the beginning tail. And what I like to do with this is I kind of mimic the circle that it did. The bottom one isn't as important to weave in as the top one because it'll be sandwiched underneath your jar. Okay, the top tail has the possibility of getting caught in the flames, so I would really make sure you tie in your top tail. The bottom one you could leave or you could weave in. So this is our finished cover. And we'll put it on our mason jar. And it's all ready for the candle to be lit. Okay. The next video I will show you how to do version 2 of my mason jar light covers. Thank you.